Hello everybody, let's graph some lines in standard form. So we're going to identify the slope y-intercept of the line and then graph. So the two equations I have here, they are in standard form. That's when you got your x and y on the same side. So these are standard form. So I'm going to graph these in standard form. But in order to do that, we're going to just rearrange this equation. What we know is we know how to graph y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if I can get this equation to look like that, then we are in luck. So to get y by itself, I'm going to subtract 3x, subtract 3x. So I'm moving this x to the other side of the equal sign. When we do that, those 3x's are gone, so we're left with 2y equals, I'm going to put the x term first, which is negative 3x, and put the 12 in the back, which that's a positive, so I'm going to put plus 12. So just by moving the x over, I'm getting really close to having this equation look like y equals mx plus b. Getting really close. Only thing we still have is we have this 2 in the way. And we're multiplying by 2 here, so the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. Now, when I divide the left side by 2, I need to divide the entire right side by 2. So multiplying and dividing by 2, those are gone, so I'm left with y. I have negative 3 divided by 2. And I know some of us have to depend on a calculator. If you do that, work it all out, change it to a fraction, you get negative 3 over 2x, because the x does not go away. Then I have a 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Okay, so now I have what was originally in standard form. I rewrote it to something I know, which is slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 6. I can now graph this. So my y-intercept is 6. So I'm going to go to the y-axis all the way up to 6 and put a point. My slope is negative 3 over 2. Because of its negative, I'm going to be going down. So I need to go down 3 and to the right 2. So down 3. 1, 2, 3, right 2. Down 3. 1, 2, 3, right 2. Down 3. 1, 2, 3, right 2. And you could get a few points. If you want to go to edge of the graph, to the edge of the graph, you could do that as well. I have enough here, and I'm going to use a straight edge. We'll line them up, and there is my line. I'll show you one more example of taking something in standard form and graphing it. So again, we want to try and get y by itself, get it to slope-intercept form. So y is on the left side, I got this 5x with it, and I got this negative 5 with it as well. So both of these have got to go. So first thing I'm going to move is I'm going to move that x to the other side. It's already a positive 5x, so I'm going to do a negative 5x or subtract 5x. If it was already negative, like a negative 5x here, then I'll do plus 5x. Okay, it's always the opposite there. So 5x gets moved to the other side, so I have negative 5y equals, put my x term first. Now notice I haven't been subtracting these. I don't do 20 minus 5x because they're not like terms. This has an x, that doesn't. So do not combine these and say it's 15x. This has an x, that doesn't. So negative 5x, and then I need a positive 20. So move the x term over. We're getting really close to y equals mx plus b. I just got to get this y by itself, which means this negative 5 has got to go. So I'm going to divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. These are gone, so I get y. On the right side, negative 5 divided by negative 5 becomes a positive 1x. Be very careful on these negatives. A lot of students drop these negatives here. If this is a negative 5, that needs to be a negative 5. And then I have 20 divided by negative 5, which is negative 4. So I now have my y by itself. Y equals 1x minus 4. My y-intercept is all the way down at negative 4, which is right here. and my slope is 1. So that's 1 over 1. So that means we're going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So I'm going to fill in those points, up 1 over 1. Get a few of those, going to get a straight edge, line them up, draw my line, and that should be it. Okay, so there's my line. So important things to think about here is try and get y by itself. Take something you don't know how to graph and relate it to something you do know how to graph. Be very, very careful with your signs. See here we divided by -5, so you divide by -5 over there. Be careful when you're dividing negatives or a positive and a negative. Very careful with those signs. The other instance that I didn't necessarily show in this video is when you move that x over, again, this was a positive 3x, which is why I did -3x on both sides. If it was a negative number here, then I would be adding a number down there, okay? So that was graphing lines in standard form.